Hello everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of F123 Driver Career Mode. Boy, do I have a story for you guys today, and that's what we're going to start this episode off with. In the background, you'll see some upgrades and me looking through stuff. We're going to be taking a grid penalty again here in what is the Mexico Grand Prix coming your way here today. Fresh off of Circuit of the Americas, where we had a great weekend in the sprint, picking up a very solid top 5 just about effort there, and then of course a 9th place in the actual Grand Prix, really showcasing what we can do here coming into these final 4 Grand Prix. So you may notice it's been like 4 or 5 days by the time this video is coming out since I've uploaded, and this is not the first time this has happened. So it's story time. You're going to see practice and maybe qualifying depending on how long it takes me to tell this story, but my internet, this video, I'm currently doing the commentary on Wednesday at 1:28 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but my internet has been out since Saturday, so we're on 4 days now without internet. The sad part is this is the 4th time we've had a multi-day, like 3+ day outage of my internet. So here in Canada, I'm on Rogers internet, and in May, so I'm on fiber to kind of give some context here, which the line runs through the ground. In May, my line got cut by road construction that's around the corner from me, doing another street, digging it up, of course, repaving it, etc. So they cut my line. I was out for about 4 days at that point, 4 or 5 days, before Rogers came out and fixed my internet. And when I say fixed it, they basically, my neighbor also has the same internet and his fiber box. We basically got our line hooked into their fiber box, so we were bridging off of him. And that made the internet work for about a week until the construction crew cut his line, and then we were out for another day or two, and then they came out and another day or two later they ran a completely new line from the separate on the other side of the block, basically from another hub for the fiber, except they didn't run the line through the ground. They ran it up over the power line, so it's going over top of my house to make it work for both of us, actually. And then about 2.5 weeks ago, so it worked for like 3 weeks or so, about 2.5 weeks ago, my internet cuts out again. Turns out my fiber line, the strength was just simply not strong enough anymore, so we were out for a couple days again. Well, they came back and fixed it again, and they put us back in again with our neighbor, so we were bridged in through his box again. And then on Saturday, it goes out completely again, and I've been out since, and I'm waiting for them to, they're supposed to come today to fix this, so if they come today and do fix it and get me back up and running, this video will be out tomorrow, because they're not supposed to be here till 4 o'clock my time, which in Britain time, that's almost 10 p.m., so there would be no point in putting this video out. It has been really frustrating, obviously, and there's not much options around that are better unless I want to significantly decrease my upload speed to like 10 megabits per second. I don't want to do that. Anyways, focused in on qualifying. That's my story time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. In qualifying here in Q1, currently P12, running a bit of a quicker lap, 0.3 of a second that we have found. As we close in on the end of our lap, we would lose a little bit and then find a little bit again here. Going down into the final turn, is this going to be enough to advance into Q2? We are taking a grid penalty because of the ICE change, but we crossed the stripe. We briefly go P11, but there was too much improvement from everybody else. We would miss Q2. So P17 is where we end up. The 2 Canadians, Stroll and myself here, P16 and P17. So yeah, kind of standard. We've missed Q2 a lot. Obviously, the AlphaTauri, it's proven it's not a great car, but we're still working at getting the best results possible, and I think we've done just that. Let's head to the race here on Sunday for the Mexico Grand Prix.
Back in the 60s, Mexico City would host the season-ending race, a party of motor racing. Well, we might not host the finale now, but Mexico hosts a party nonetheless. So welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexico City Grand Prix. 17 corners then at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, 10 to the right and 7 to the left. And all of them will have to be tackled in difficult wet conditions here today. No DRS assistance either, at least not for the start of the race. The best overtaking opportunities will still be down into turn 1 or shortly afterwards into turn 4. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and the smooth operator Carlos Sainz completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Perez, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, Oscar Piastri, Magnussen, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Bottas, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Joe, Golden Boy, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Also here, of course, is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Golden Boy. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
It's raining. It's going to be raining all Grand Prix long. We're on the Interzal race. Unfortunately, because of my no internet, I have no access to the AI stuff. So no radio transmissions from Mark, and there's no through the grid. It is all working again, because I had an issue recently with it not working. But it's all working again. I just don't have internet to do it, unfortunately, for this episode. So it should be back going into Brazil. Nonetheless, ready to roll here for the formation lap here. Now, I'm just going to talk over the formation lap, of course, this time, since we don't have an AI Mark to talk us through on the radio. But it's Leclerc and Sainz, your front row, of course, with Russell, Hamilton behind, Perez fifth, Alonso there just behind them. Verstappen starting a little bit down at the order, some work to do after a grid penalty there for the Dutchman, who can win the World Drivers' Championship here today. So, we'll see if Max Verstappen can clinch the world title or not. Of course, it's all going to depend on what his teammate of Perez is going to be able to do here now. But yeah, I'm excited for this one because we have really excelled in the rain so far this season. All of our best efforts so far, what a camera view, but all of our efforts so far this season that have been the great ones have been in the rain. So I'm pretty confident we can have a heck of a finish here today in Mexico. We might be starting towards the back with a grid penalty to put us a little bit worse than what we qualified only by a few positions, but I think we got a shot to put up a heck of an effort here today and maybe even get some points. And we know we cannot rule out a safety car with these conditions as well. 36 laps, about to get underway. 5 red lights. It's not a long hold. We're lights out. We're underway. The Ferrari front row of Leclerc and Sainz are going to lead the field down towards turn number 1. 3 wide in front of us. Bottas with a bit of a slow start. Going to swing to the right side of the track immediately there. Stroll in the middle of 3 wide. Of course, we're racing for his ride next season here as we continue down towards turn 1. We're going to get aggressive there. Big time aggressive. We're going to gain a bunch of positions into this first turn. I don't like to take advantage of the AI like that, but I didn't even mean to. I just kind of saw the opportunity, kind of put myself there, and these load up way more than I imagined. So we are up to P14. We take those. We continue on in these treacherous conditions. Of course, could be a lot worse. We're not even on the wets, just the inters now. This is now Leclerc side by side. Sainz was able to get away better than Leclerc and take off. Hamilton here trying to make the move for second place here now, but around the outside, Leclerc hangs on to the position. Fernando Alonso just behind him in that 4th position. Around the outside now of Pierre Gasly, the Frenchman drops to 14th as we move into P13 behind our teammate of Yuki Tsunoda, who I'm sure is not thrilled to already see me right behind him after he started with such a better position than myself here. But yeah, 36 laps and about half a lap we've gained all those positions. Pretty happy with that. That sets us up really well for the rest of the Grand Prix. It's very, very key to just be patient in these kind of conditions at a track like Mexico as well, especially through this second sector. These S's are, even in the dry treacherous, I get a bit of a jump scare right there. Yuki Tsunoda blows up right in front of us. The end of the day for our Japanese teammate right there. Very unfortunate. We hang on to P12, and I genuinely had a jump scare. Watch my wheel right here. When his engine blows, that actually startled me. But we were able to get through without any issues, and we actually get a virtual safety car. Lance Stroll was actually trying to put some pressure on me in the next corner, but virtual safety car due to the conditions mixed with the, of course, engine failure. We would be very quickly, though, back racing within another straightaway or so. So we get back underway. Kevin Magnussen in front of us, but we have gotten up into 12th place pretty easily here because of the positions gained on lap 1 and then Yuki blowing up in front of us. So top 10 is now already a very realistic expectation here, especially when you're setting the fastest lap, which would not last for long. The pace was improving for everybody here, but battles continuing all around the circuit. This is lap 5. Here is Perez now putting some pressure on Lando Norris in the McLaren. Norris, I think he had that spin in Circuit of the Americas in the last episode, of course, having a decent race so far. P7 as he hangs on, and there he goes again. He spun it around. The driver of the McLaren is once again spun around facing the wrong direction. This might bring out a safety car because of how long he is stationary for. And yes, it will. Safety car is out here. Lap 5 is all we're on, and we've already seen a virtual safety car and a full physical safety car. There was no strategy, so we would immediately just get back ready to go racing here. I thought about pitting, but I wasn't confident I could take the interest to the end from now. That was a big moment there. We save it and we continue on. Thankfully, I don't know how Lance Stroll doesn't have a gargantuan run on me after that, but he does have a bit of a run, but it wasn't enough, so we would hang on into turn 1. Already some battles in front of us here. That's Verstappen continuing to move his way forward into P7, and it's starting to look like Max Verstappen is going to lock up this World Drivers' Championship here today in Mexico now, and Sergio Perez's home race. That'd be heartbreaking there for the home driver. Now here I am going for P10, front straightaway on the run down towards turn number 1, and you can see Magnussen outbrakes me, but then I outbrake him. You know, he braked a little bit later than I kind of let off of it, and then of course put that pressure on the brake pedal and get into P10 behind Oscar Piastri. It has turned into a fantastic effort so far for us there. Another slip and slide, yellow flag behind us actually. This one was not a spin, it was a mechanical failure, and it's actually going to be for Williams of Alex Albon. Didn't he have a mechanical failure in the last episode too? So we've seen two things repeated as we get a virtual safety car again. Norris with a spin in the both episodes and Albon with the mechanical failure. So we would be very quickly again back racing, but that's now 2 virtual safety cars and a full safety car in only 10 laps here in Mexico. A lot of this race so far has been going slow. You guys have only been seeing, of course, the majority of the fast parts of it now, but we were holding on pretty comfortably to P10 as we were slowly closing in on the pit window. Ferrari, Sainz, and Leclerc were out in front 1-2 and driving away. Ferrari's in just control of this Grand Prix, so I'm sure they'll find a way to throw it. But here we go, now putting pressure on Piastri, who outbrakes himself in a turn 1, goes for a bit of a slide. A nice save right there from the fellow rookie there. The Australian, though, is going to sacrifice the position out of that and go down to P10 as I move up now into 9th place. Well over 20 laps to go still in this Grand Prix here now, but setting our sights on Esteban Ocon. But this is where I kind of found the limit for my pace and for this car, at least for this portion of the run. I would slowly reel in Ocon a little bit, but then he would kind of pull back out a little bit, so it was basically a back and forth of about a 1.5 second range to 2 seconds over the rest of this opening run here, and you can see now up to 2 seconds as we start lap 18, but now the pit window open. Look at the track map. Ferrari is long gone. Now, Mercedes and Aston Martin, Hamilton, Alonso were battling quite hard, so that was helping, but still, they had incredible pace. Leclerc is the first one to pit, so Sainz, who's been leading this whole Grand Prix, might lose the lead because we know even on intermediate tires, the undercut's still extremely powerful. Hamilton's got to wait right there for what looks like Esteban Ocon coming into the pits, so he's going to lose out to Fernando Alonso, who's going to exit in front. So Alonso's going to be P3 when Cecil cycles out. Hamilton will be 4th. We're now coming in at the end of lap 18, lap 19 underway, and we'll see what we can do here now, if we can maybe undercut anybody. I don't think we will because Ocon's already, of course, in, and that was kind of the only driver we could undercut. So yeah, nonetheless, in for the inters, and now we're going to go to the end of this Grand Prix. It's quite simply not going to dry up, so we're going to be in the same condition for the rest of the race. It's been, although, a pretty good race here, a pretty competitive race for us, some decent racing, and a little bit of drama thrown in here as well. But we're going to continue on. Here's Sainz exiting the pits a lap later. It's not even a contest. They cannot be happy. If I'm Sainz, I am very angry right now with Ferrari dominating the race, looking for his second win of the season after his first one in the last episode in Coda, and they've given Leclerc the advantage instead. Alonso, Hamilton drag racing here down towards turn 1. Verstappen's gotten the leap over his teammate of Perez as well. They're still side by side, and the World Championship is in Verstappen's hands here now in Mexico, as you continue to see this side-by-side battle. Look at the World Championships we have right here. Of course, 7 on Hamilton, 2 on Verstappen, 2 on Alonso as well, as we continue on. And actually, Sergio Perez, things get a lot worse for the home driver. I would find out Perez actually has a mechanical issue right there. You see Mark telling me he's got an issue with his car, so not only did he just lose out to Verstappen, now he's got a problem just like Coda. We saw this in the sprint race. He had a mechanical issue. He is going to lose a bunch of spots and maybe fall out of the points, which means the World Drivers' Championship is decided if Max Verstappen doesn't screw up here now. What has been a dominant post-summer break from Max Verstappen is about to be, of course, now recipe to win a world championship. As you can see, Russell getting Perez. We have stayed within contact this whole time of these guys, which has allowed myself to be in this position to slide one up the inside here of the home driver of Perez into turn 1. I didn't even want to do this pass. I felt bad. I honestly felt bad for passing him here. We go up into P8. Heartbreaking for Perez. Early in the season, he put pressure on Verstappen, had the championship lead at points, of course, and was really showing that he had the pace. But in true realistic form, Verstappen took over and just said goodbye. I'm going to go win this World Drivers' Championship the boring way. That's how he's done it here. Max Verstappen, an unbelievable, of course, driver that continues his incredible pace here. Leclerc, Sainz, 1-2. I'm your through the grid again because of the no internet. Alonso third. Verstappen, what a drive from the Dutchman. Has, of course, started around that 10th place area and is driven all the way up into 4th. Of course, Verstappen's so good when it comes to wet weather conditions here. I'm really happy with my pace. I think, honestly, we're almost the next Verstappen of wet conditions. I mean, I never thought after F122 that the rain would be where I find almost my master class here in this game. We've been so good in the wet conditions now. Battle for 12th place. Magnussen, Pierre Gasly up the inside in the Alpine. Of course, Gasly has been quite consistently slower than his teammate of Ocon all season long. Contact right there, but Ocon P6, Gasly going for 12th. A big separation between the two Frenchman teammates here. Now for the French team, of course, of Alpine, as Magnussen tries to fight back here down the straightaway, as he is now looking potentially to have that raw speed to get him ahead, but Gasly just has too much pace. I think around the outside he goes, and now he'll of course have that inside lane here into the right-hander. He's gonna give Magnussen the room he deserves, and actually is gonna now stay in 13th. Magnussen able to hang on as Bottas, Norris, Hulkenberg a little bit further behind with Logan Sargent and Zhou Guanyu, the last two drivers running on circuit right now. And you can see, we continue to run 8th place behind Russell and Ocon. Russell had run down Esteban, who was losing some pace late in this race, and I was hoping that maybe I could run these two guys down and put some pressure on them, and I would, because they would start to scrap it out here. Ocon very defensive there into the right-hander, you saw it, and that brings me right into the conversation. On raw pace, I don't have anything for these two, but when they're fighting, I have pace. So you can see as, safety car is going to be out here, and it's actually going to be for Pierre Gasly, who's gone around. We'll take a look right here. Watch this through the right-hander, and a big slip and slide around he goes, nearly gets hit by the Haas, and you can see stationary like Lando Norris was earlier, which is going to be the reason for the safety car. Thankful for ghosting right there. Zhou Guanyu decided he wanted to drive through him, but Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, your top 3. Does Sainz have anything to maybe get that lead back after you could kind of say he was done dirty by Ferrari here to put Leclerc in position over Sainz, of course, now, as we're only going to have a few laps of racing to go. 2 virtual safety cars today, 2 full safety cars. It's been an interesting Grand Prix to say the least. It hasn't been chaos, but of course if you look at the numbers of safety cars and whatnot, you would think it was. But it's going to be 4 laps of racing remaining here in the Mexico Grand Prix. And now we are back underway here. Leclerc Sainz will lead the way down this long front straightaway. Ferrari had the pace in Texas in the last episode, with Sainz picking up the victory there for the first time this season. And of course they've had the pace here today. Leclerc already with a few wins on this season, about to get another if he can hang on. And I think he's going to now as we continue on. Already approaching the final 2 laps. I just struggled a little bit here on pace since this restart to get myself in position to be able to, put the attack on Russell. Here you can see, starting now, the final lap. I am full beans on the overtake button, trying to get up the inside, just didn't have an opportunity. Perez now, his issue had been resolved, so he was close to me, but, I mean, I didn't want to give up the position to him on this final lap, so we're going to make him fight for it now. If he can get it, good on him. If he can't, sorry, but we continue on here now, staying behind Russell as we head down into Sector 2. S's for the final time here now. Perez a few tenths of a second behind now, but Leclerc is in position to win this Grand Prix over his teammate of Sainz. Like I said, there's no way Carlos is happy about that one there. I nearly get myself a time penalty on the exit of the corner into the final heavy braking zone right there on the right side. Just about got into the back of Russell now, as actually we go wide right there. That opens the door for Perez, but he can't capitalize on it. We stay ahead. Leclerc exits the final turn. He is going to win the Mexico Grand Prix over his teammate of Sainz. We're going to bring it home, P8. A great day, and Max Verstappen officially is your 2023 World Drivers' Champion here in Mexico. He is now a 3-time World Champion in Formula 1. He cannot be caught in the last few Grand Prix. We're going to see him celebrating here post-race as we win Driver of the Day.
And with that, another year of Formula One draws to a close and a new World Drivers' Champion is declared. Another entry added to that prestigious list of the sport's most incredible drivers. It's victory in Mexico then, and what a victory it is after an incredible Grand Prix. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, they clearly have a car that comes alive in the kind of conditions we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is that the drivers have confidence to attack. And having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, it lets you brake later, and can put you a long way up the road.
Our World Drivers' Championship has already been decided. Also, the Constructors is decided as well. Red Bull has already clinched the Constructors' title, so Red Bull dominance of Season 1. We do have regulation changes coming for Season 2, so obviously there is the potential for things to look quite different next season, but we still have a few Grand Prix to finish things out, continue to impress teams. We again beat Lance Stroll, so Aston Martin is looking like a solid landing spot here, and the task was simple. Lawrence Stroll told us we just got to keep beating Lance, and it sounds like we're going to be potentially getting a call in the next episode going into Brazil, if not Vegas, from Lawrence again for a bit of a catch-up to kind of see what the situation is. Stroll ends up P11 while his teammate Alonso finally on podium for the first time this season. What Stroll has actually done already. You see the rest of the finishing order right there. But yeah, a great day again for us here in the rain. The rain has really been our specialty so far. Oscar Piastri, a good day for him as well, getting a point over his teammate of Lando Norris, who ended up 13th place here. Now, I did not mean to go into that. Wanted to check the standings. You can see Verstappen ahead by 89. Just quite simply, it cannot be caught. It's game over for everybody that was trying to chase him down this season. Stroll and myself separated by 6 points here. Of course, he does not like to hear that when he's in a much faster car than myself. In the Constructors, like you see there, Red Bull's 158 ahead. It's game over for anybody trying to catch them. We still are in a battle with Haas. We're not going to run down Alpine, but we're trying to stay ahead of Haas, basically, for P7. We need Tsunoda to step it up a little bit to make sure we can do that. But that's going to wrap it up for me. I'll see you guys in the next one in Brazil. Have a great day, everybody.